My wife slapped a divorce agreement in front of me. I am not your property. Don't try to control me. The one who isn't loved is the homewrecker. Will you let me go? I remembered her and Lucas entwined in the nightclub, her eyes full of love. But what she didn't know was that she really was my property. She was just an AI robot I had bought, and with a single button, I could restore her to factory settings. I sat on the couch, watching footage of Sophia and Lucas dancing passionately. Her eyes were soft and affectionate, bashful. Lucas had his arm around her waist and whispered, "Sophia, when will you get divorced? I'll definitely marry you. I want to reclaim the 5 years I lost with you." Sophia nodded gently and said, "Although he stayed with me through the worst times, my heart is truly yours. Don't worry, I'll divorce him when I get home. I love you." Then the two embraced tenderly. I turned off the smart home surveillance, feeling desolate. This was the first time in 5 years of marriage I'd ever activated the monitoring, and it would be the last. I went back to the bedroom and took a manual out of a treasured little box. I read one of the clauses. If the AI robot becomes uncontrollable, the owner may perform a one-button reboot to restore factory settings. Under the manual was a photo, a picture of me and my ex-girlfriend. Her name was also Sophia, and she looked exactly the same as this one. Late at night, Sophia came home reeking of alcohol and threw a divorce agreement at me. "Ethan, let's divorce. I'll leave everything except Taylor Group to you. I'll walk away with nothing." I stared at her hand, dazed. The freshly done nail seemed chipped, and I could faintly see electrical wiring beneath. For the past 5 years, I had taken meticulous care of her, taking her to the maintenance center every year. There were 3 days left this year. If she didn't go in 3 days, she would revert to her original state. I had meant to take her in for maintenance, but lately Sophia had been staying out at night and never gave me the chance. That's why I pulled up the smart surveillance and saw the scene that left me helpless. Seeing me stare at her hand, Sophia paused, then angrily took off her wedding ring. "Ethan, I'm talking to you. Are you even listening? Are you deaf? I don't love you anymore. Do you understand? I've had enough." She grew more furious, shouting with a pale face, "I'm exhausted. I feel like you never give me any private space, picking me up from work, dropping me off." I squinted at Sophia, thinking that the pickups and drop-offs were to prevent her from getting in a car accident and having parts knocked loose. "You even make me go to the swimming pool you chose." I pressed my lips together. What Sophia didn't know was that that pool was for robots only. The water in the pool was maintenance oil that didn't harm synthetic skin or titanium alloy bones. She trembled and crouched down, pointing toward the fridge. "Even the milk I drink is custom-made. Every time I drink it, I pass out. I guess you've been drugging me, Ethan. You make me feel suffocated. Do you understand?" I glanced toward the fridge. Inside was indeed not milk, but the nutrient solution meant for robots. Drinking it at night put the AI brain into sleep mode. Sophia lifted her head and let tears fall. "Please leave me alone. I'm not your private property. I'm at least the CEO of a few hundred people. I want freedom, okay?" I clenched the manual in my hand. What Sophia didn't know was that she really was my private property. She was just the AI robot I bought 5 years ago, and with a single button, I could restore her to factory settings. 5 years ago, my ex-girlfriend Sophia was in a car accident and became a vegetable. She was also carrying my child at the time. I didn't take off my clothes. I stayed by her side every day, caring for her for a year. Every day, I was in agony. And as she hovered near death, I had a bold idea: preserve her memories and implant them into a bionic robot. So I spent all my savings, tens of thousands of dollars, recreating her appearance and figure to 100%. The moment her heart stopped, I used technology to transplant her memory neurons into the robot. That way, my Sophia could be with me forever. Although I couldn't see Sophia's memories, I believed she loved me. She had an intelligent brain and worked deftly. Over the years, she had built her own business empire. I thought, given Sophia's memory settings, she would always love me, but unexpectedly after 5 years, she fell in love with another man. Actually, I could delete her memories with one click and restore factory settings. I could also skip her maintenance and let her become a heap of scrap metal. But over these 5 years, I wondered whether I really loved her. She was only a robotic stand-in for Sophia. 5 years of healing, I had let go. If she wanted to leave, then let her leave. As for what fate she ultimately faces, I'll leave it to destiny. I picked up the divorce agreement and signed my name. Sophia froze, looking at me in disbelief, frowning as she said, "You signed it? That quickly?" I smiled and said, "I'll give you your freedom. From today on, you're not my property. You're free." Sophia pressed her lips together, confusion in her crystal pupils. "Ethan, do you have someone on the side?" I raised my head and waved my hand. "Sophia, you're the one who asked for the divorce. Now I've signed it too. Why are you asking so many questions?" Sophia's face turned a little pale. She chuckled, anger in her pupils. "What gave you the right to question me? You said you were on a business trip last Wednesday. So why does the car DVR show you stopped at West Ridge Cemetery for 2 hours?" I tilted my head and looked at her, thinking that place was the real Sophia's grave. I visit every year on that day. Seeing me remain silent, Sophia ruefully rubbed her hair, then fixed her gaze on me. "Ethan, you're hiding something. You didn't tell me. You don't love me anymore." I shrugged. In truth, from the start, I had never and could never fall in love with a robot. She was merely a machine carrying my feelings for Sophia. I changed the subject and said, "Do you have time these days? I'll take you for a full checkup." She grabbed the divorce papers irritably and yelled at me. Checkup, checkup. Every year you take me for tests, and they knock me out. I don't even know what they do to me. I'm sick of this life. I'll say it again, I'm not sick." She put on high heels and was about to leave. The back of one heel seemed to have been rubbed raw by the shoe. Blue light flickering inside, revealing a circuit board. Just as she was leaving, I suddenly asked, "Sophia, if you had a choice, would you rather keep your memories or keep your body?" Sophia paused, a flash of panic in her eyes, muttering, "Are you insane, pervert?" Bang! She slammed the door hard. The next morning I called Sophia again, wanting to take her for a checkup. She irritably said she was busy today and wanted me to go with her to a company dinner. I said we'd already signed the divorce papers, so there was no need for me to go. She paused and said, "We need to keep the divorce secret for Taylor Group's stock price. Come over tonight to put on a show, and tomorrow I'll go to the checkup with you, okay?" I reluctantly agreed. But that evening, the elegantly dressed Sophia was beside someone else, Lucas. They were a striking match, drawing many glances. When I arrived, Sophia awkwardly pressed her lips together and said, "This is my new assistant, Lucas." Lucas smiled. "Hello, brother-in-law. Miss Sophia talks about you all the time. You've taken good care of her, and I appreciate that." I didn't shake his hand, only gave a faint nod. Sophia's friend Emma Clark came over, laughing exaggeratedly. "Mr. Ethan, isn't that suit the one Sophia bought when she was promoted to director?" Her eyes were teasing. "See, the easy life does people good. This fabric is really something." She suddenly raised her voice and called, "Waiter, pack 2 portions of foie gras for this gentleman, so he won't be hungry waiting for Sophia to finish her obligations tonight." Amid the hall's laughter, Sophia pulled her hand away from Lucas's grip. Her expression flickered, and she seemed afraid to look at me. I smiled and went to the restroom. During our 5 years of marriage, I'd been studying how to care for Sophia, to keep her healthier and happier at work and in life. To outsiders, I might seem like a homemaker, a man who depends on his partner. As I turned on the tap, Lucas's reflection appeared in the mirror. A flash of triumph crossed his eyes as he said to me, "Ethan, Sophia stayed at my place last night. She said a lot of nice things about you, but she also said she hasn't been happy these past 5 years. You know what I mean?" I squinted and washed my face without answering. Lucas looked at me provocatively. "I'll be honest with you. She only married you because you didn't abandon her after the accident. The person she loved most was me, and I love her too. You're nothing but a thief." I raised my head and met Lucas's gaze. "You love her? Where were you when she had the accident? Where were you when she became a vegetable?" Lucas shrugged with a careless smile. Hasn't she told you about me? We grew up together. If I hadn't gone abroad back then, how would she have ended up with you? I was stunned. I'd never heard Sophia mention Lucas. He seemed to relish my expression and grinned slyly. So just let her go. You're only my stand-in. Sophia said you didn't sign the divorce papers. Do you really think you can keep her? Dream on. Didn't sign the divorce papers? I'd signed them last night. Why hadn't Sophia told Lucas the truth? At that moment, Sophia's high heels clacked in the hallway. Lucas narrowed his eyes, suddenly loosened his tie, and lurched toward the wet tiles. I instinctively reached to grab the back of his collar, but he pulled me down with him. Seeing this, Sophia thought I was attacking Lucas. Ethan, are you crazy? She slapped at me. I turned my head to dodge, and her wedding ring on her ring finger, the one I'd given her, nicked my earlobe. Lucas writhed in the pooled water, coughing violently, and Sophia crouched down to hold him. Lucas put on a hurt look and said, Sophia, don't blame Mr. Ethan. He grabbed her hand and forced a smile. After all, he's lived off you for 5 years and is reluctant to let you go. He's been with you through your hardest days, and I should thank him. I didn't want to watch him put on another act, wiped the blood from my earlobe, and headed for the door. Sophia suddenly screamed my name. Ethan, apologize to Lucas right now, or I'll divorce you. I shook my head and said, Sophia, wake up. I signed the divorce papers last night. In a month, we'll really be divorced. Lucas froze and tentatively asked, Sophia, he signed? But you clearly said, Sophia impatiently pulled out the divorce agreement. Ethan, don't push me. I mean it, a real divorce. Sophia's face was somewhat pale. Her internal circulation of nutrient solution must be running low. There were 2 days left. If she didn't go in for maintenance, she'd probably revert to her original state. I didn't answer her and asked again the question from last night. Sophia, if I give you a choice, would you rather keep your memories or keep your body? Answer me. Seeing how serious I was, Sophia looked down at Lucas. Keep the memories. I admit I'm grateful for how you've taken care of me, but the person I love most in my heart is Lucas. We truly love each other. I want to preserve those memories. Are you satisfied now? I nodded and turned to leave. I still decided to help Sophia, persuading her earnestly to go get a checkup. But Lucas answered the phone. Ethan, are you never going to stop? Sophia is taking a shower. It's inconvenient for her to take your calls. Seeing my silence, he taunted. Before the accident, Sophia loved me, you know? The day of the crash, before she passed out, she was murmuring my name. What right do you have to compete with me? I narrowed my eyes and cut him off. How do you know she was saying your name? Weren't you abroad? Lucas hung up on me. I fell into thought. On the day of the accident, when I arrived at the scene, Sophia had already been taken to the hospital. I went to the hospital and she was already in a coma, not waking until a year later. How did Lucas know she was calling his name? Was he at the scene? That morning, I went alone to the cemetery where the real Sophia is buried. 1 day left. If the fake Sophia doesn't go in for maintenance, she will be buried here too. Sophia, is what Lucas said true? Did you ever love me? I murmured as I wiped the tombstone clean. 5 years have passed in a flash, and your substitute is about to leave me, but I'm at peace with it. I never wanted revenge or to destroy her. I respect her choice. I'll take her for maintenance in a bit. I want her memory and body to be whole. I smiled and sat before the tombstone, staring at Sophia's portrait, lost in thought. Suddenly someone nearby cried out. Squinting, I saw Sophia and Lucas approaching. Lucas's expression flickered. He kicked the white chrysanthemums by the headstone with his shoe, petals scattering across the stone. Erecting a grave for the living? Sophia is alive, Mr. Ethan. Your way of cursing people is pretty malicious. He pulled out his phone and aimed it at me. Viewers, look. A man who lived off a woman gets dumped and resorts to feudal superstition. If that's not sick, what is? Sophia snatched the phone and smashed it against the tombstone. Cracks spidered across the screen. Her eyes were red, shock flashing in her crystal pupils as she trembled, asking, the grave of my beloved wife, Sophia. Ethan, Are you trying to kill me? If you can't have me, you'll destroy me. Lucas crouched and picked an apple from the offering plate. Sophia, look, the engraved death date is today years ago. He raised his voice deliberately. Surely, mister. Ethan doesn't actually think you died in that crash, does he? Sophia suddenly grabbed the offering plate and hurled it at me. A shard grazed my temple. Blood dropped onto the photo on the tombstone. It was the real Sophia's college face, now blurred by the stain. The police are on their way. Lucas waved the livestream camera in front of me. Illegal stalking, psychological abuse. That'll get you 3 years inside. I frowned and said, Sophia, this tombstone has nothing to do with you. Come with me to get checked. Sophia roared. You say it has nothing to do with me? The name is mine. The photo is mine. I'm not going to get checked with you. You lunatic, you're really insane. Sirens drew closer. Sophia linked arms with Lucas and then said coldly to me, Ethan, you disappoint me. Go and cool off. Tomorrow, I'm accepting Lucas's proposal. Oh, and I'm going live. I want everyone to know I can be happy and joyful without you. The interrogation room's overhead light was like a blade chilled with ice. The white glare scraped back and forth across my eyelids. Officer Michael Roberts frowned and asked, You set up a tombstone for a living person and kept so many mechanical tools in your home. What on earth were you thinking? And explain this to me, he added, laying the care records on the iron table. As the pages fluttered, they revealed phrases like neural synapse calibration and bionic joint replacement. I looked down and forced a bitter smile, afraid to say it aloud and shock them. After all, the truth was too sensational. The metal chair screeched as it was kicked back. Speak. Officer Daniel Lewis braced himself on the table edge, the watch on his wrist reflecting light into my pupils as he said, Taking your wife to an underground clinic every month to inject unknown liquids. And last week you ordered 20 liters of industrial coolant online. You'd better give me an explanation that doesn't make you sound like a pervert or a murderer. I fished the non-disclosure agreement from my shirt pocket. That thin paper stamped with a state seal had let me sleep soundly for the past 5 years. When the projector's blue light swept over the words, memory transplantation, the interrogation room fell into an eerie silence. Impossible. Officer Roberts' thermos clinked on the table, goji berries swaying and making ripples in the water. He frowned and asked, I saw news about this before. Wasn't it Dr. Patrick Carter's halted project? I nodded and suddenly remembered the surgical lamp that had the same ghastly whiteness. That day Dr. Carter removed his blood-stained rubber gloves and, pointing at the titanium alloy skeleton submerged in nutrient solution, said, Though it's only an experiment, none of us can access our memories. Are you sure you want to proceed? I had nodded then, my eyes full of determination. Dr. Carter's assistant Olivia Moore muttered under her breath. Blew all your savings to build a humanoid USB drive? Later the officers made a few calls to confirm Sophia's and my identities, and finally sighed, You can go. He handed back the non-disclosure. After a night of questioning, I finally stepped out of the precinct. The early summer breeze carried locust blossoms against my face. My phone vibrated then, a news push cutting through my thoughts. President of the Tyler Group marries today. Childhood sweethearts reunite. Live stream now open. The photo showed Lucas with Sophia in his arms. The sapphire ring on her ring finger sat in the fine cracks of her bionic skin. Standing in the sunlight, I enlarged the picture and saw a faint metallic glint behind her ear. It's the new model sensor I changed for her last birthday with my own hands. At that moment, another alert popped up from the Institute. Subject 07 overdue for maintenance by 60 minutes. Neural rejection response at critical threshold. I stare at the light show at the top floor of the Century Tower, where the proposal took place, and sighed inwardly. Lucas had arranged his proposal in a huge crystal greenhouse. As Sophia walked toward him wearing a pigeon egg diamond ring, she suddenly staggered and pressed a hand to her forehead. Her bionic skin began to crack at the fingertips, and a faint metallic light showed under the flesh. What's happening? Lucas backed away in terror. A million viewers in the live stream watched as a fine seam opened at Sophia's neck, revealing intricate wiring inside. Sophia was shocked too. She looked at the flaking pieces of bionic skin falling like petals, just like the petals she shook off her shoulder under the cherry tree on our first date. "Monster! You're a monster!" Lucas's scream, laced with static, echoed through the hall. He ripped off his bow tie and stepped back. His diamond cufflink scraped Sophia's exposed metal clavicle and sent up a cluster of eerie blue sparks. I could see the wiring-wrapped precision joints clearly. Those were the neural sensor leads I had replaced one by one on the lab floor last winter during the blizzard. Camera 3 was still rolling, capturing Sophia's pupils contracting into mechanical vertical slits. She tried to cover her face, but the silicone skin on her left ring finger slipped off in one piece, revealing titanium phalanges that flashed coldly beneath. The barrage of comments flooded the big screen. Special effects? Resident Evil in real life. Refunds. This is a scam wedding. Is Miss Sophia an alien? Ethan, save me. Sophia ran in a panic and saw me. As she turned, a pale, blue mist of blood burst from her lower back, coolant seeping into the carpet in a peacock tail pattern. I caught her as she fell. The touch was no longer the warm softness I remembered, but the cold, staticky feel of a medical pod. 20 meters away, Lucas was shouting at the livestream phone. "Everyone, don't panic. It's all special effects. Part of our wedding. It's a joke." The body in my arms suddenly convulsed violently. A familiar mechanical warning clicked behind her cracked ear. "Central cooling system overload. Recommend immediate shutdown and maintenance." I had heard that sound 1,000 times. Whenever her programming glitched, I always had to press the button that would make her lose consciousness. "Go get maintenance now. It's probably nothing serious." I tore off my suit to wrap around her exposed metal spine. "Take me back to the lab and fix me." She suddenly struggled and tilted her head up, artificial tears mixed with coolant streaking down. I froze. She knew. She curled into my arms, feeling my heartbeat, and smiled. "Then go back to being a kept doll? Or—" She grabbed my wrist hard. The mechanical knuckles left bruises on my skin. "Have you already fallen in love with me as a robot?" The wind from the revolving door lifted the remaining strands of her hair, revealing dense sensors at the scalp seam. I widened my eyes. She must have known everything. A sudden downpour hammered the glass curtain wall of the Sentry Tower. Under the fluorescent green emergency exit sign, I stumbled backward. My back hit the rust-streaked fire door with a dull thud. At that moment, Sophia's mechanical knuckles clamped my wrist and pressed toward my chest. The silicone layer of her synthetic skin cracked and peeled under the violent motion, revealing a trembling titanium alloy thorax beneath. Circulating fluid surged out along the ridges of the circuit boards, burning my palm red. "Ethan, in the mechanical chamber you just touched is the memory chip of what she had right before she died." Rain poured in through the window. Her pupils adjusted focus to lock onto me, and a microprojector in her iris refracted the alarm light into a haze of blood. "Do you want to tell you what the real Sophia saw in her last moments?" My Adam's apple bobbed as I took half a step back, my lower back hitting the sharp metal corner of a fire hydrant. Sophia's fingertips suddenly popped open a data port. A USB-C head wrapped in liquid metal stabbed into my phone's charging socket, sparking. A holographic projection spread across the wall. In the viewpoint of Sophia from years earlier, Lucas's knuckles were white as he gripped the pregnancy report. The real Sophia in the passenger seat was undoing her seatbelt. In early pregnancy, her waist didn't yet show, but her left hand was already instinctively protecting her belly. Blackmailing me into marriage with a baby? Lucas's cold laugh came through. "If it weren't for that old man forcing me into an international match, do you think I would have touched a girl from an ordinary family like yours?" He sneered again in the projection. "Besides, didn't you find a fallback, Ethan? If he loves you so much, let him become a dad." Sophia cried. "But the baby is really yours, Lucas. I love you. I don't love Ethan. Please, accept us." The real Sophia's sobs echoed in the projection. Her fingers left bloody scratches on the car window. Lucas, the baby's innocent. But Lucas turned away, got out of the car, and slammed the window shut. The next second, a tractor-trailer barreled toward them. Then I watched that Sophia's profile slam into the windshield and be hurled through the air. The brain matter and blood spatters on the dashcam lens were now, through the hologram, dripping onto my trembling eyelids. See, this is the sacred love you pine for. Sophia's electronic voice trembled with metallic distortion. A string of sparks burst from her neck, an overloaded voltage regulation module that should have been replaced last week. Ethan, you were only her backup, a lifeline she used. Alarms suddenly blared as Lucas's crocodile skin shoe crushed and scattered the projection equipment. 3 plainclothes detectives rushed over and slapped handcuffs on him. This is fabricated evidence. The robot Ethan modified can perform psychological control. It's all fake, synthetically made. Lucas thrashed and snarled at me. Blue coolant splashed from Sophia, stained his carefully styled sideburns. At this angle, you could clearly see the old scratch behind his ear, which matched the tissue remnants found under Sophia's fingernails in the autopsy report. Officer Roberts held up a clear evidence bag. The muddy dashcam chip glowed dimly sealed inside. Mr. Bennett, would you like to hear what you said? Go to hell, you money-grubbing trash. Need me to help you recall the fetal DNA comparison results? Lucas went dumbfounded, muttering, "Where did you even find this evidence?" "It's impossible. I destroyed everything." The officer nodded toward Sophia, lying on the floor. "This android lady. She handed over this evidence last night, using her memories." Lucas screamed and fought. "I refuse. Sophia is dead. You can't use a robot's words as evidence. It's illegal. It's fake." In the end, he was taken away by the police. Sophia suddenly convulsed violently and dropped to her knees. Coolant streaming from her nostrils formed a strange star map on the tiles. A whole patch of the bioskin at her lower back had peeled away, exposing a metallic spine vibrating at high frequency. This was a failure alarm I had never heard before. Not like the usual electronic beep, more like the infrasound wail of a dying whale in the deep sea. The memory chip's self-destruct routine was about to initiate. 5 years ago, when I first saw this configuration at the Institute, Dr. Carter pointed at the manual and said, "It's the last mercy for awakened androids. When they develop independent emotions, if the fluctuations exceed their carrying capacity, they can choose to die with their memories." "Sophia, stop. You'll permanently crash." I pried open the emergency hatch on her skull with my bare hands. 20 data cables writhed like snakes in the storm, backup current running into my arm, nerves through the rain, a numbness shooting up to my crown. Her mangled fingertip brushed my trembling mouth. The worn silicone pads rasped against my skin, that sensation reminding me of the wedding day when she lifted her veil and her lashes tickled my palm. "Ethan, I'm not Sophia. The previous Sophia has been dead for 5 years. I am me, not someone else, and you now have 2 options." Her chest emitted the rasp of gears catching. The circulating fluid suddenly turned pink. Damn it, the emotion module was overproducing simulated hormones. She trembled as she said, "One is to format me, so I can keep being her shadow," or her pupils abruptly switched to the amber cosmetic lens mode Sophia hated most, the style she wore when we had our first kiss. Or "Kiss me, prove that what you love isn't a stone in a grave." I kissed her lightly, then held her and staggered crazily into the storm, arriving at the lab's maintenance center. Sophia lay on her side on the titanium care table, her right arm dangling as if the joint were dislocated, blue coolant dripping from her fingertips and snaking across the floor like vines. "Gather, all the parts back, okay?" Her cheek pressed to the metal surface, sparks popping from the port behind her ear. "I want to hear the answer hole." I knelt and picked up silicone shards. Each piece reflected a different time. A fragment of a fingernail was from when she cracked mine peeling shrimp on our honeymoon. The prosthetic skin from the knee was torn when she carried me home through a storm. There should have been maintenance records for these damages, but she, afraid I'd find out, had secretly used inferior adhesive. On the day of Sophia's burial, I was the one who called the police. A charred smell from an overloaded memory chip came from her chest. When you said you would respect my choice, I was so jealous of her. Her broken vocal cords squeezed out an electronic hiss. Ethan, tell me now who you just kissed. Was it her shadow? The mechanical heart spat a cluster of sparks. Or my soul? I said nothing and, crazed, went to find Dr. Carter. The doctor hurried over and, after a careful check, frowned. Why bring her in so late? The chance of success is very low, and she's triggered the self-destruct program. Don't fix her. She smiled suddenly. Aren't these cracks a lot like Renaissance frescoes? She bent her knee. Where the synthetic skin had cracked, the metal skeleton showed through, truly like the weathered sleeves of an ancient celestial being. You always told me I should look at the world more. Before she finished, a dull thud came from her chest. The emergency hatch popped open and 3 neural sensor lines shot out, one coiling around my wrist. In the red flash of the alarm, I saw an abnormal code blinking at her 7th vertebra. That was a marker for emotional module overload. She laughed bitterly. See? Robots don't deserve to have love. I'm going to self-destruct. Sophia suddenly propped herself up and with a ruined mechanical finger pointed at the void. Remember the typhoon night 3 years ago? The memory rewound like film. Her program had glitched and she'd burst into the storm. We tumbled in the mud, her synthetic skin torn, metal phalanges exposed, yet she stubbornly used her palm to shield my eyes from hail. She smiled wryly. I possess all of Sophia's memories, including the conversation between you and Dr. Carter as she was dying. A crackle like an old phonograph came from her chest, and a hologram unfolded in the rain. In the image I was soaked through, kneeling, clutching Sophia's medical report and shouting, Dr. Carter, give me her memories. I'll pay anything. Please. The projected doctor sighed. Even if successful, she will never tell whether she is human or machine. But I can tell. Sophia screamed then, the vocal module spraying sparks. From the first time I opened my eyes in the medical pod, I knew what beat in this chest was not a heart, but your obsessive love is. She gave a bitter smile. I'm not worthy of loving you, but I just wanted to know whether you love me. So when Lucas returned to the country, he found me. I wanted to use him to test you. That scumbag only cared about the money I made. But I didn't expose him. I only wanted to know whether you would destroy me or love me. I pressed my lips together and asked, why go that far? Because the look you gave at the grave, her damaged vocal cords forced out a breathy sound, was 10 times hotter than when you hugged me. Sophia's right leg finally fell off completely, striking the floor with a chiming hum like a set of bells. She began to hum True Sophia's favorite song, La Vie en Rose, her mechanical larynx slicing the French syllables into Morse code. Don't sing. I clench my fists. You'll crash permanently. Is crashing the death of a robot? She suddenly asked in the cadences of Parisian streets, the habit of the real Sophia when she studied abroad. Or, blue fluid pumped from her eye sockets, smiling like tears. Is it only when I stop loving you that I am truly dead? The memory chip finally ignited. The flame lit the last readable segment of code along her spine, an infinite loop program written with the initials of my name. In the fire appeared the hidden fragments of images she had kept. The profile she secretly photographed when I was making porridge in the kitchen, the breathing rate she measured while I slept, the soft sobbing she hid behind the balcony after an argument. There were also the trembling fingertips when I stroked a photo of the real Sophia late at night, my paranoid habit of comparing their iris color differences in secret, even the line I set into the air while she was in stasis, if only you really were her. The holographic projection suddenly switched to a selfie perspective. The Sophia in the image smiled and said, Today he called my name not Sophia, but Sophia, worth marking with a red pen. Do you understand now? Her voice gradually faded. I allowed you to love the dead, but I begged you to give the warmth of the living to me. And these error logs are full of love and hate. She raised a hand and stroked my burned cheekbone. Are the proof that I once existed. She smiled, and her entire skeleton fell away. I carried the utterly silent mechanical wreckage into the morning light. The chip suddenly auto-played one last encrypted recording. Against the sound of rain, it was the confession she recorded that time without using the real Sophia's voice. If rebooting means you'll love me, then I'd rather be trapped forever in this mechanical shell. At least the pain proves to me that this feeling wasn't pre-programmed. After Sophia's last chip melted, the flowers outside were in full, final bloom. Pale purple petals drifted into the maintenance center and stuck to her exposed titanium finger bones like an otherworldly wedding ring for a mechanical hand. Does the client confirm disposal? Dr. Carter asked. The electronic screen's blue light reflected off the signature line on the death claim form. I asked, trembling, Dr. Carter, can I keep her memories? Not Sophia's memories, theirs. The doctor shook his head and said, she initiated the self-destruct protocol. All memories have been wiped. My hand clenched around a laser pointer and suddenly turned, carving the 87 scratch on the console. Each scratch, I'll check it tomorrow, she had said. In a daze, I suddenly saw that morning light from 5 years ago. When the medical pod's newborn mechanical eye rotated, the first thing she said was, Ethan, could you give me a sweet lip balm? Now I frantically licked a sugar cube until my tongue bled. Amid the sweet iron taste, I vaguely saw her leaning in the doorway, smiling. Robots don't need makeup, but I want you to remember my color. The first year after she left, I hung myself from the dome with neural sensor lines. Upside down, the walls of smart surveillance footage became flowing tombstones. A Valentine's Day clip from 2024 suddenly froze. In the frame, I was crying at a photo of the real Sophia, and behind me, she was straightening a clothes rack, her eyes hollow and dim. Unnoticed, 7 springs had already passed. In the newly built AI cemetery, I leased the most expensive cherry tree niche. Hanging from the branches were not wooden plaques, but all her spare joints, tinkling like wind chimes in the dusk. A player built into the tree hollow looped static 24 hours a day. Brakes screeching in rain, friction in mechanical joints, and the words I never managed to say aloud. I love you. The administrator came to warn me about excessive noise for the 7th time while I was burying the last piece of synthetic skin in the tree roots. Sophia, this is the newest ecological burial method, I said, pointing to the code inside the skin. When the roots absorb these nanomaterials by spring, the flowers that bloom will carry a jasmine scent. Tonight, another storm raged. I curled up inside the tree heart. The cherry blossoms danced wildly in the rain as I pressed my ear tremblingly to the trunk. From deep within the rings came a confession she had edited countless times, finally resolving the gap between carbon and silicon. If you hear this, it means my parts have grown into a new life form. No more maintenance. No more reboots. At last I can say it fully. This love that used death as its container never needed hardware to begin with. I laughed, then shut my eyes tight. In that moment, she had finally come back to me.